Hello and welcome to iBuzz. I'm your host Nosheen Bukhari, bringing you the most exciting news from the entertainment world, followed by a beautiful, beautiful analysis on the 1997 blockbuster Titanic. First things first, let me quickly take you to the top stories of the day. Grammy Museum in Los Angeles to reopen on May 21st. Janet Jackson to release NFTs for 35th anniversary of the album Control. Leonardo DiCaprio to produce another Round remake. Selena Gomez calls on world leaders to help fight coronavirus pandemic. And court dismisses lawsuit from accuser Wade Robson in Michael Jackson case. Moving to our top story of the day, Selena Gomez is using her public platform to call on politicians around the world to join in fight against COVID-19 to help make coronavirus vaccines accessible to poor nations in need. The singer took to her Twitter account, which boasts 65 million followers, to petition for access to the coronavirus vaccine worldwide. The pop star reached out to President Biden, VP Harris, French President Emmanuel Macron, Spain's Sanchez, and more. To discuss this further, we have James Barker with us, who is a journalist and a movie critic and writes as media pundit in Midnight Writer. James, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's great to be with you.
Right. So, James, we have seen Selena Gomez, making a humongous effort along with Jennifer Lopez. But do you think that more celebrities should embark this journey and they should, jump in order to support the cause? Because this has been basically a call for the world leaders. But celebrities like Selena Gomez, they have showed their, an enormous concern with the third world countries who are deprived of the coronavirus vaccine. So it's a huge step. So do you think that more and more celebrities should join the cause?
Yeah, certainly. And it certainly shows the power of celebrity. I mean, particularly when combined with kind of social media and activism. I mean, because Selena Gomez got some interesting responses from the world leaders, and obviously at Vax Live is going to be attended by some important political figures as well, like Joe Biden and Harry and Meghan Markle are also attending. So yeah, I mean, it shows kind of like the power that this kind of activism can have, I think, and certainly, yeah, it would, if more celebrities were involved, that would also be a way of expanding that power, and that would be a good thing, I think.
So she exclusively addressed the world leaders. However, in times of social media where celebrities are already very powerful, they are heard, like Selena Gomez having 65 million followers only on Twitter, and she has like over 120 million followers on Instagram. Do you think that it is still important to involve political leaders and world leaders in the cause?
Obviously involving world leaders is the most obvious part of it. But yeah, I mean, involving kind of the wider public. As you said, these celebrities with very, very large social media followings, they can generate a lot of interest and enthusiasm from the wider public as well. So I think there's two kind of sides to it, and certainly both sides are important, I would say.
Right. And Meghan and Harry are also planning to jump in with their support. But not much of global leaders have, said yes to the call, except from President Joe Biden and the French President Macron. How do you see this? And the response that she was expecting from political leaders is now coming from the entertainment figures like Meghan and then Harry, who is now no longer a part of the royal family anymore, and he's doing more social work for such causes. So how do you see this?
I think the main effort is always going to come from the governments, essentially. So, the main kind of push on vaccine distribution is going to be on the government's end, because just the scale of it, and also because pragmatically it's kind of in their interests. So the more people who have COVID worldwide, more mutations can happen. So reducing the spread not just in their own country, but elsewhere in the world is good, not just on a humanitarian level, but also on a pragmatic kind of level, if that makes sense.
Okay. James, thank you very much for your time. To discuss this more, we have another guest with us from UK, Esme Todd, who is a TV presenter. Esme, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So we are talking about Selena Gomez, her remarkable efforts for collecting vaccines through her art, which is music. How do you see this? How do you see the effort? And do you think that more and more celebrities should join the cause as well?
In terms of calling people out and getting action, do you mean?
Yes, like collecting more help from the actors and from fellow singers, and bringing them to the cause.
I think it's important as they have these big platforms, like Selena Gomez has, 65 million Twitter followers. It's a load of people. So I think when you have that much of a platform, it's definitely important to use it and try and get people's attention, because they're more likely to respond if they're being called out to such a big platform.
Selena Gomez has been always a sweetheart for her fans, whether she's singing or she's acting, whatever she does, she does it perfectly. But now that she has given a hint of her retirement, how do you think that this is going to be, accepted by the fans, especially now that she has started doing this philanthropy and work for cause? So do you think that it's going to be a shocker? And according to Cardi B, she should be given another edgy era for music. Do you agree to that?
Well, the thing is, because she started so young, she's had a really long career for her age. So I think when most people would start maybe in their, 20s or something like that, she started when she was like a really young child doing children's TV, and so it's a really long career she's had. So I can see why she's thinking, do you know what, I'm a bit done with this now. And she's obviously made so much money, and she's so famous. Like, I'm sure even if she does retire as such, she will probably carry on doing bits here and there. So yeah, I think it's fair enough. I mean, I'm surprised it's quite a bit young, but it's fair enough.
Right. And do you think that this trend will be responded well by the politicians? A few have responded already, but do you think that this is going to be yet another successful event because of the involvement of world leaders?
I think when world leaders are being sort of called out on such a big scale, it makes it hard for them to ignore it, because they're going to look bad if they ignore Selena Gomez, and she's got all these millions of followers. Everyone's going to see it. It's in the news. So if they ignore her, it's going to go down really badly. So I think it's good for more and more people to do this, and I think the politicians will respond because they kind of feel like they have to. Everyone's watching them.
Right. And some of the critics have come up with really mean remarks, saying that this is the last nail in the coffin when Selena is about to retire. So this can be a stunt, to gather more followers, because she's all about social media. Why is it that we always have to, face one negative comment whenever there is something remarkable done for the humanity?
I just think you're never going to please everyone. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like what you're saying. So I think those people are probably just annoyed. I think some people don't like the idea of like people in entertainment getting involved with politics. So she's a singer and actress, some people find it annoying when people like that try and get involved in politics, and they say, stay in your category. But I think you've just got to ignore those people, because you're always going to have someone who has something negative to say about what you do.
Right, but keeping Selena's sensitivity in mind, because this has happened quite recently, that she had to, shut down her live Instagram conversation when she started receiving negative comments, negative remarks from her viewers. Do you think that this can affect the cause, and this can, make her step back from what she's about to do?
The hate, you mean?
Yes.
Maybe, but again, I think she's probably so used to it now that I don't think it would affect her to the point of like, I'm going to stop this. Especially because what she's doing now is not about her, it's about coronavirus, So I don't know if that would be something that she'd stop over just some comments from like people online. I think she'll ignore it. I think so.
Right, right. Esme, tell us about your thoughts, because the concert at Sophie Stadium in Los Angeles is going to have a lot of people in it, and it's about collecting vaccines to cure coronavirus in the third world countries. But do you think that this is going to be controversial at the same time? It's going to go against the SOPs of pandemic, where a large gathering is there to attend a concert. Probably some are going to wear masks, some are not. That we also saw this happening in the award ceremonies as well. There were like lack of SOPs. So do you think that this can be controversial?
Yes, definitely. And I think there probably would be better ways to do it, because a big event is, you're right, probably not the best way, because if they end up getting more cases because people have mass gathered, it's kind of against what they're trying to do. So yeah, but then again, it's hard to raise awareness without big events and stuff. So it's kind of one of those difficult positions, like what can you do? If you can't do that, what can you do? As long as they're strict on wear your mask, maybe keep away from people. If they're strict on those things, maybe it's a bit better.
But it is going to be aired on a lot of news channels. So do you think that it can be done the other way around? It can be an online concert to save people from catching, more and more people from catching this virus, because of course the cause of this concert is to eliminate the virus from the world. So how do you see the possibilities?
I mean, I think an online one would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Because you could have so many people there around the world as well, without the risk. So I think an online one would be much more sensible. But people don't like thinking about sensible, do they?
Right. Right, and Meghan and Harry are also, they've joined the cause. A lot of other celebrities, they have responded to it. J-Lo is yet another figure who is one of the organizers as well. So do you think that political figures can make any difference if Selena Gomez doesn't get any response from them? Do you think that the show will still go on and, it will be a huge hit?
Probably. I think anything she does is going to be successful, to be honest.
Okay, Esme, tell us about your thoughts on the responsibilities of the world leader, the political leaders. I mean, do you think that this is going to make them dependent more upon the artists? Because basically these are the duties of political leaders, to provide vaccine and to work for this cause. But now people like Selena Gomez have called in these world leaders to, get together and do the work for a wider audience now. So do you think that it's going to make them more dependent upon the artists?
No, I don't think so. But then at the same time, they shouldn't need Selena Gomez to be the one to call them out. You know what I mean? They should be doing this anyway. It shouldn't take singers and actors and royal family members to make them do something. I think they should just be doing it off because they're in charge. That's their role.
But on the contrary, Selena, sorry to cut you on. Selena Gomez is the only celebrity who called these artists to help the third world country people for the vaccines.
Yes, yeah.
So keeping that in mind, don't you think that it's something totally different that is done this time?
Possibly. It's just a hard one, isn't it? I just personally think that the world leaders should be doing as much as they can. It's a shame they have to have someone like Selena Gomez to get involved for them to do something. They should be taking action on the other countries and helping other countries because that's just their responsibility anyway.
Okay. And Esme, how do you see this working for the artists themselves? Because they're not making any money. It's been a year. There are no concerts, especially music is suffering. Film industry is suffering as well, but music is exclusively suffering. There are no concerts. These singers have not made any good amount of money from the past 1 year. So working for these causes, do you think that it's going to help the artists as well?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it depends if they're getting paid. I don't know if are they being paid or are they just doing it voluntary?
Like,
to do any.
Like, how are they going to, run their houses if they keep on working for the causes?
I don't know, but it's all very temporary, isn't it? Because things will start to open back up more and more, so they will. And I think a lot of the big famous singers will have the artists will have so much money behind them anyway. I'm sure that it's not affected them that much. And you have things like their own, concerts aren't their only source of income because they have all their sort of sponsorships and brand deals and etc. So I don't think it'll affect them in that way too much, but I think it's good for them to step in and help.
Right, and the artist lineup contains mainstream artists. Like you said, that these people already have a lot of money. We have Foo Fighters, one of the performers. Do you think that new artists should be given a chance in concerts like these, especially when it is for the cause?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Like, I mean, they won't, sort of a new artist won't bring in as many names as a bigger artist like Foo Fighters. Obviously, they're going to have more fans and who will want to go and see them, but I don't know. I can't see why they wouldn't allow people who are newer in their career to have a go, because the idea is getting everyone involved, isn't it? Trying to get everyone to help, and that's the main thing.
Right. Esme, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
That was Esme Todd with her thoughts on Selena's effort to control pandemic. Now moving to the story details. The Grammy Museum will reopen next month after being closed for more than a year due to the coronavirus pandemic. The museum in downtown Los Angeles announced Tuesday that it will be open to the public on May 21st. The museum will launch with 3 new exhibits, including Motown, The Sound of Young America, and Dave Matthews Band, Inside and Out. The museum will open at limited capacity to maintain social distancing, following guidelines provided by LA County. The Grammy Museum is a non-profit organization through the Recording Academy, which annually produces the Grammy Awards. Janet Jackson will celebrate the 35th anniversary of her acclaimed LP record, Control. With a series of NFTs, the influential record was her 3rd solo record. Janet is donating part of the money made from the NFTs to the American Child Sponsorship and Christian Humanitarian Aid Organization, Compassion International. Leonardo DiCaprio is set to produce and possibly star in a remake of Another Round. The comedy-drama movie recently won the Best International Feature Film Gong at the Academy Awards, and DiCaprio is now leading efforts to create an English-language remake. The Hollywood star's Appian Way company has already secured the rights to the movie. Court dismisses lawsuit from accuser Wade Robson in a case against Michael Jackson. A Los Angeles judge ruled on Monday that Wade Robson cannot sue Jackson's business over the childhood sexual abuse he allegedly suffered. Robson, whose accusations featured in the documentary Leaving Neverland, is expected to appeal the decision. Last year, the same judge ruled against fellow accuser James Safechuck on similar grounds. And we hope that the courts won't make Wade Robson wait that long. That is it from the newsroom. We will be right back after a quick short break. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, if you're a 90s kid, you must be very familiar with the word Titanic. Yes, the 1997 blockbuster. More than 2 decades after 1997 release, Titanic is still one of the most loved and successful films of all time. We can tell from watching the 3 hours film that a lot of work and money went into creating Titanic. In this segment, we will decipher some behind-the-scene facts of the 1997 blockbuster that bagged 11 On number 1, it was Johnny Depp who turned down the role of Jack Dawson. Leonardo DiCaprio was perfect for the role of Jack Dawson, but before he won the role, it was offered to Johnny Depp, who turned it down. Other actors who could have appeared in the film include Matthew McConaughey, who the studio wanted for Jack, and Angelina Jolie for Rose.
This ship can't sink. She's made of iron, sir. I assure you, she can't.
The second interesting fact is that it was filmed in a giant pool. The movie wasn't really filmed in the ocean. Rather, the water scenes were filmed in a giant pool known as Horizon Tank, which contained 17 million gallons of water. The tank is located in Mexico's Baja Studios. Fact number 3 is that the ship's destruction wasn't CGI. The sets really were destroyed. The sinking of the ship is widely considered to be a cinematic masterpiece. The filmmakers tended to favor practical effects over CGI, and when it came time for the water to gush through and destroy the ship's interior, they really did flood and destroy their own set. This added more pressure to get everything right in one take.
All right, this is the grand staircase right here coming up. And there it is. You're looking right down into the curve of the A deck level.
Fact number 4 is that the director really did dive to the real Titanic. The beginning of the film features a lot of cool footage of the Titanic shipwreck, and most of it is totally authentic. James Cameron really did dive down 13,000 feet to get the footage of the wreck and was the first person to do so. Among the real footage is also the submerged set and miniatures. The same company that wove the Titanic ship carpet did it again for the movie. Yes, James Cameron was all about detail and wanted to keep as much of his set as accurate as possible. He went even so far as to have the carpet that appears on the replica Titanic woven by the same company that wove the original ship's carpet in 1912. The filmmakers thought Titanic would be a failure. It's hard to believe now that Titanic is one of the most iconic films of all time, but the filmmakers originally believed that their project would be a commercial failure. Even James Cameron believed the studio was going to make a loss on the film, considering the fact that it was 3 hours long and so expensive to make. Kate Winslet got hypothermia while filming. Because she refused to wear a wetsuit during filming, Kate Winslet ended up with hypothermia after so many takes in the water. This nearly led her to quit the film, but luckily James Cameron convinced her to stay. Now, none of us can imagine Titanic without Celine Dion's song, My Heart Will Go On. But the now iconic song was not supposed to be a part of the movie at all. James Cameron originally envisioned his work without any songs whatsoever, but when he heard the song for the first time, he couldn't say no, and that is totally understandable. It cost more to make the movie than build the real ship. You can tell just by watching Titanic that it was not a cheap film to make. After filming started, they quickly surpassed their $109 million budget, and in the end, they ended up costing $200 million. To put things into perspective, the real RMS Titanic would have cost $150 million by 1997 standards. So no wonder this movie still lives in our heart and is still considered a blockbuster. That is it from today's show. We hope you liked it. Don't forget to share your feedback on the social media link mentioned down below. We will see you next time. Until then, take care and goodbye.